Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday Night Live. I am your host, Diamond, from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. And it has been a slow news cycle today, so I figured we'd just do a quick live stream. Maybe I could entertain some of your questions if you have any. Other than that, I will do a quick update on the Reykjanes Peninsula, as well as space weather, perhaps. Can you all hear me? Okay, SZ is in the house, and he says, have I ever heard of the chevrons? Oh, that's a she. Supposedly marking the path of great tsunamis, as put forth by, well, Oz Geographics didn't put it forth. There's many peer-reviewed papers, SC, on the topic. Lee and I have done many podcasts on those chevrons all over the world, most specifically in Madagascar, Australia, and places like that. You can find those podcasts over at Magnetic Reversal News. Just go up in the search bar when you're over at the channel and put in Chevron, and I bet you find those podcasts. So that's what we do there. Welcome to the program, Victor Debs. Who else do we have in the house? Troy McDrains, Tump, Crownland Productions. These are the voyages at the Quantum Vortex. That's Jimmy, the electrician, who is hiding in the woods in New England. GOS85, Darren Gander. Hello, hello, hello. 5x5. Matt G. Rimanya Ryan is also here. Howdy, yes, we hear you. Alien Allen is in the house. Beautiful to see you, Alan. Lawrence Paul Hall. Annie Luhu won. Who knew? Now Annie Luhu won knew. Now you do. Matt G is in the house. Dan Grenfell. Big fan of the channel. You're welcome, SC. Misfits NG here, as well as Nicholas Fiorucci, Joe Schinkel. Listen to Grandma. Alan Pulp. Leela Chase. Gunslinger. Runs with Scissors in the house. Mike Ginioli. Matt G, Steve C. And other people with abbreviated names. How's everybody doing on the Sunday night? It is frigid outside. And let's prevent a share screen here, shall we? All righty, we've got, what do I got pulled up here? Let's put me in the bottom corner here. What we're looking at is Discover, solar, wind, and what we're waiting for is a coronal hole stream to couple with us. It might have happened. This might all be part of it. The enhanced geomagnetic activity that began 24 hours ago. Nothing much happening in currently with the Discover solar wind here. So thank you, Matt G. He says, I'm the man. Hello from Tucson, Michael Decker. Mermaid Magic. All right, anybody got any questions? Why wouldn't the world turn over during a pole reversal? Well, first of all, it depends on what pole you're talking about. If it's the rotational pole, it would turn over, but we're not discussing that. We are currently in a magnetic excursion where the magnetic poles are moving, which have nothing to do with the rotational poles. Hope that answered your question, RK. Aurora is flatlining. Good evening from the deep South Mississippi. Soil to soil. Soil to soul. Yes. Sending love and good vibes from Tammy. We've got the cats getting into something back there. The most boring live stream I've listened to, period, says Matt Bob. Holy macaroni. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Bob obviously doesn't like our material here. So let us present another slide, shall we? We'll stop sharing that screen and let's share a different screen, shall we? How about them GFS models? Take a looky here. We'll just run that through, shall we? Most boring live stream on the internet you are currently all watching. So we are just looking at the GFS model here, total snow, and you can see it gets pretty spicy in about a week from now where the models keep shifting around with this tropical storm / nor'easter that's could be potentially packing a punch for the East Coast. But the current model is not showing that nor'easter, but a large swath of snow inland here for the central U.S. by mid-November. So very interesting models there. When you get haters, that means your message is working. Thank you, Julianne. What's going on with Mount St. Helens? Well, let's go take a look at that, shall we? Let me see Pacific. So we'll come over to the Pacific Seismic Network, and I will update you on the Mount St. Helens situation. Bear with me. All righty. You can see there's been we've been ramping up now for the past week. We started with 160 earthquakes over the last 30 days. I last reported on it 48 hours ago. That had risen to 170 earthquakes for the last 30 days. And now we are at 175 earthquakes in the last 30 days over at St. Helens. Some people will say that these are ice quakes, perhaps. But there is a large amount of activity going on here. And now the quakes are all over. You can see in the last 2 days, the orange spots well spread out. So there is a widespread area of activity over at St. Helens. Nothing imminent as far as an eruption, but certainly one of the largest seismic upticks in quite a few years. So that's what's going on at St. Helens. Love the talks you've done about the spiritual aspects. Ever heard of the Phoenix phenomenon? Yeah, I've heard about that. We don't prescribe to that made up thing. Why can't people just leave? Why be mean? Yeah, why would you even come here in the first place? Will Yellowstone ever blow? Of course it will. It always does, Peter. But the odds of it blowing as like a super volcano with magma are very low, in the less than 5% range. There is a high probability above 50% in the next decade or so, we could see a large hydrothermal outburst. Hydrothermal eruptions happen every few thousand or tens of thousands of years at Yellowstone in a larger fashion than, let's say, the normal geysers that are going off. So there could be a large hydrothermal explosion at Yellowstone, but there would be a precursor, huge seismic swarms, uplift, things like that. Probably not a supervolcanic magmatic eruption for thousands upon thousands of years based on all the data. Mermaid Magic says, I disagree with Matt Bopp. I don't even know who Matt Bopp is. Oh, he was the guy that said we suck? Okay. I got it now. Welcome to the most boring live stream on the internet, Sunday night. Well, it is a Sunday night like a Sunday driver. We're taking our time, folks. Acapulco, watch this space. Thank you. We love you, Diamond, says Sirius 7. We love you too. Kathy Skidmore says, I appreciate all the work you bring to us knowledge. Thank you, Diamond and Leah. Loving the Revolution Radio podcast. Guys, go check that out. We replay it every Saturday night after the radio show, which is noon Mountain Time, Studio B on revolution.radio. We replay with the video and the visuals, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, Sunday night. Some amazing scientific talks. We can go check out, get some information over there. What does Jimmy have to say? Italy will go first. I'm sure you're referring to Campi Flegrei. Yes, it will erupt before Yellowstone. However, it probably won't erupt as a supervolcano, Jimmy. Don't get your hopes up. The most likely scenario, based on the uplift and all the data coming out, would be a VEI 3 or 4 eruption. So that's not a supervolcanic eruption. Nonetheless, there are so many people in that region, it would be horrible, and there would be huge amounts of deaths. Yeah, the loss of life would be epic, probably in the tens of thousands if they did not evacuate prior to the boom. Jason M. Schmidt, question. Are the Siberian traps related to expanding Earth? Yeah, that could be one. There's all of the large volcanic complexes on Earth, probably related to expansion periods. Jason, good question. Beautiful question. Thank you. Robert Hill, how much global warming do you have there in Colorado? It's freezing out. It was snowing grapple earlier. It's the coldest it's been. And we're looking at a few days of some really cold weather. Probably get down to 20 tonight. Coldest since last winter. I am Ronson is in the house. Okay, let's get a few more questions here. Best news channel ever. Well, thank you very much, Gregory Graber. We appreciate you. Robert Johnson says, hey, Diamond, go, go, go. Thank you, Robert. We will. We'd love to hear some talk about the Yugas. Lee and I are going to be discussing the Yuga cycle. Perhaps we're 80% on the radio show next weekend, so it should be an interesting discussion. I've covered the topic many times over the last 7 or 8 years and have some pretty well-watched videos on the great year that you can go check out. East Coast is going to have an epic winter. All the models are showing continuous snow after snow after snow, even early snow here before New Year's. So I think the deficit, and it typically goes in these decadal type scenarios with smaller cycles in between with the El Nino and the La Nina. So East Coast, you're about to get it. Especially with all that added moisture in our atmosphere. We now have 10 to 15% more moisture because of the Hunga Tunga eruption, which will last supposedly for decades because there is a new mass balance up in the upper atmosphere of moisture, 10 to 15% more moisture, creating these epic flooding scenarios we've been seeing worldwide, and that will translate to epic blizzards and heavy snow totals. So stay tuned for those as we report on them. Not Sure says, I like to follow channels that I don't like and complain in the chat and comment section. What a life. Is serpentine geology in California very toxic? Well, serpentinites are typically deep mantle rocks that have been deformed and then get pushed up to the surface and exposed. They're beautiful. They're fun to touch. It's a talc mineral, but they are an asbestiform mineral. Serpentinite has serpentine in it, which is an asbestiform mineral. That means if you bang it with a hammer and powder it up and breathe it, you will get cancer. So it is dangerous if you powder it and breathe it, yes. Other than that, not really. If you've got a lot of serpentine around and it's dry and it's windy, yeah, maybe you need to wear a mask. But the geology itself, not that dangerous or toxic. Only if you breathe the dust. Bruce Gustafson, what am I holding there? That is a giant puffball. It's about a 30-pound mushroom from the South San Juans of Colorado from about 5 years ago. Delicious and edible, one of the largest edible mushrooms. Rich Mountain says, get in your hole, Al. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. That's how I do it when I'm recording, actually. So you just got an inside look at how that goes on. When can we expect a disaster to happen? Steve, anytime now. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Yeah, there's no use worrying about when a disaster is going to happen because then you'll just be worrying. Remember, fear is a liar. Danger is very real, but if there is no imminent danger, then there is no need to be in fear. And proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance and gives you peace of mind. So preparing for all inevitabilities lets you sit back in comfort and just enjoy your life, which is short, by the way. Life is short. SZ, have you ever speculated what may have initiated the eruption of the Columbia River basalts? Well, SC, we were just talking about that. It could be an expansion period on Earth and or a lot of these large volcanic eruptions and traps are associated with cometary impacts. So there might be some association there. We know so little about our Earth. It's insane. What's printed in most textbooks is probably wrong, but we teach it anyway. What does Jimmy have to say? Which supervolcano has to blow to get rid of most of the stupid people? Well, Jimmy, that would have to be the biggest one. And one of the largest eruptions happened here about 19 million years ago, the La Garita caldera. It's like VEI 8 plus. But we just need a big, anything high VEI 7, low VEI 8 would darken the skies for years, and the population would radically be reduced by over 80%, probably within a year. But I don't like to think about that. That's the worst case scenario. So let's not think about that. Shall we not think about that? Steve C says, what if Lake Superior decided to be a successful rift? Well, maybe it will drain into the center of the earth and we'll have a huge phreomagmatic eruption like Hunga Tonga times 1,000,000. Bruce Slager says 26 for a high here. Well, and sometimes we get pretty high here too, Bruce. Supposed to be -2, National Weather Service, or -1. AccuMe, they're here in Gunnison. Well, Gunnison is the coldest place you ever want to be, ever. Yes, Sirius 7, grand solar minimum, much. Seven inches of snow in Canyon. That already happened? Wow. Holy macaroni. Is there any more snow coming there, Alan? I didn't check out the models. Let's check them. Let's look. Let me look. I think I already erased it here. Oh, not much. Maybe you get a couple more inches out there. It looks like, Alan, you could get maybe 1 or 2 more inches. The harvest in the ranch was, questionable. None of our summer squash produced. None of our winter squash produced. Our corn was paltry. We did have an amazing fruit year with like 10 or 12 varieties of apples, plums. Our Manchurian apricots are 2 different types of cherries produced. Yeah, so it was a good year for fruit and a bad year for vegetables. But sometimes we have an amazing years for fruit and terrible years for vegetables. It's just a trade-off. We're still processing apples. We could be processing apples for another month. We've got tens of pounds of them we're dehydrating. So that's good news. Next field trip is we're headed to Chaco Canyon, Tammy. We're going to Chaco Canyon from the 8th to the 11th. So stay tuned for those updates. Very hard to get to Chaco Canyon. Not a lot of people get to go there. It's in the very remote area, and it's some of the best preserved Pueblo-style Anasazi construction, some people call it. But in fact, we will get to the bottom of it there, the whole story. And I've been doing a lot of research on the topics. So stay tuned for those videos. Matt G says, Diamond, do you think a solar CME is the biggest near threat? Yeah, always. If you've been watching this channel, it's the #1 threat to humanity, our grid. So a large solar flare, which we're long overdue for in the high X range, will change life on Earth forever. How big of a flare will it be? Who will be affected? That is the question, Matt. So be prepared for a grid down scenario. That's what everyone should be preparing for. #1 threat. And that also now, because of World War III, includes EMP. The easiest way to harm an entire country is to shut it down instantly with a high-altitude thermonuclear bomb and an EMP, which is the same as a large solar flare, Matt. So it's the same thing we're preparing for. We're preparing to be left on our own. No one is coming to help. Esoteric Gold says our lakes barely went down this year. A higher reservoir and lower reservoir. Robert Hill says, looking forward to see you next Saturday. What is Cosmic Rays Index? I love your show. Great job. What is the Cosmic Ray Index? You could be called that the KP Index. You can Google the KP Index. That is a rating on basically how much or little cosmic rays are coming in, and that's how we get geomagnetic storms. But there is other energy involved, Robert Hill, in the KP Index. But you can also check the cosmic ray counts. The lower the solar activity, the higher the cosmic rays influx to Earth, the more genetic damage happens to our DNA. Cosmic rays are the only thing on Earth we know mutate cells and can cause evolution. Nothing else that we know of can evolve a thing through mutation but cosmic rays. And so, and as our magnetosphere wanes during this magnetic excursion, cosmic rays get higher and higher and higher. And they follow the solar cycle every 11 years. They go up and down. So now we're at solar max. Cosmic rays are lower. As we go to solar minimum, cosmic rays will rise again. We're learning a lot tonight. Sirius 7 says, was the Himalayan mountains made by a meteor impact via the Gulf of Mexico? I've been thinking the Himalayan mountains were made in a day. No, probably not made in a day. Never heard of that theory. The Himalayas are because of two continental plates pushing together. It's a very unique scenario. It is a convergent plate boundary, and it's a huge pushing up, and you're getting the Himalayas. They're still rising. It's very young, the youngest mountain range on Earth, one of them, and the highest. Now, interestingly enough, based on plate tectonics and even expanding Earth, if you bring Africa back to North America, at one point, Africa was smashing into the east coast of the United States, and there was a massive mountain range that would have been as high as the Himalayas. Maybe about 600 million, 500 million years ago, there would have been a Himalaya-like range where New York City and Philadelphia is, would be like 20, 30,000 feet high. Amazing to think about. That has since been weathered completely flat, and New York and Philly are some of the lowest areas at sea level now. All right. Cheryl Ann in the house. Hey, Diamond, glad to make your live stream. Love what you do and Lee are doing with the increasing activity at Campi Flegrei. Also cause additional activity at other regional volcanic systems? Probably not. Most volcanoes are their own volcano, unless you're at a system like in Iceland where you're on a mid-ocean ridge where all of those volcanoes are connected in some way. And in those scenarios, like on the West Coast where all the volcanoes are going up that subduction zone in cascades, you can have a series of volcanic eruptions go off. And we have seen that in the past, Cheryl Ann, where multiple Cascadian volcanoes, 3 to 5 at one time, will be erupting for some reason. And this typically happens at grand solar minimums. So I think we have a lot to look forward to in the coming years as far as volcanic activity, either multiple volcanoes that are large and new eruptions that haven't erupted for a few hundred years, all erupting at once, or a large VEI 6-7 eruption in the coming years, in just the next few years. Campi Flegrei looks like the most dangerous with 5-meter uplift in nearby villages. Yeah. But again, based on all of the uplift and the magma emplacement, it's only going to be VEI 3 or 4 eruption potentially. But anything can change. There is new papers this year and just the last few years coming out about supervolcanoes that there is no warning in many cases. We used to think there'd be huge warning on these huge VEI 7 and 8 eruptions, but apparently with all of the new studies, there is no warning. So maybe because the data is saying that it's just going to be a VEI 3 or 4 eruption doesn't necessarily mean it won't be a VEI 6, 7, or 8 based on some papers coming out. And that's scary to think about, which is why you need to be prepared and not scared. And you can always support the channel. Go to preparewiththeranch.com. Click any of the links below our videos. We have a preparedness store on Amazon with thousands of products. We have a merch store, and we have long-term food storage with My Patriot Supply at preparewiththeranch.com. And all the links are below. You can always send a one-time donation. You can always become a Patreon and give us a monthly donation. And if you don't have any money, you can always share the video. We've been shadow banned for 5 years now. We used to get 1,000 subscribers a month. Now we barely get a few hundred, and our videos are not shared to people that are not subscribed to the channel. So that's what shadow banning is all about. They literally shut you down and you no longer grow. So you need your subscribers and your listeners to help your channel grow once you're shadow banned. So you can always help the channel by sharing this video on your social media. We appreciate that. Take a few more questions here. Just waiting for the birds to go to bed. Beavis L says someone at the Thunderbolts Project says electrical events can scorch the surface of the earth, causing granite to form. Not necessarily granite. I mean, that's a weird thing to say. Granite is a specific rock type. But if there were major plasma events or, let's say, huge ionospheric type lightning events that were literally scouring the surface, turning rock into, instantly liquefying it through plasma, it could be redeposited as some lava or magmatic thing like basalt or... See, granite is a slowly cooled volcanic rock. So I would think that this would be cooling as some type of a lava. So it's all based on who you discuss it with and the theory. All right, scanning through here. Are we ever going back to the water? You mean to evolve back to the water, Lawrence? That would take a very long time. Eric Court's in the house. Question, when did our Earth start to melt from snowball Earth? A change in orbit? Snowball Earth is a long time ago, hundreds of millions of years ago. There's some new papers that came out about it. I don't have them up here. Lee and I have talked about it in the discussions. But there had to be a tipping point to get out of snowball Earth. When did our Earth start to melt from snowball Earth? A change in orbit? It wasn't a change in orbit, but it could have been a comet, Eric. Comets always seem to shift everything, like the Younger Dryas, when we dropped 12 degrees C overnight and went back into the Ice Age, and all the megafauna died, and Clovis cultures went extinct and became fulsome overnight. Matt G loves the weekly show on Magnetic Reversal News. Alien Island says no. 3 inches in Colorado Springs, Tammy Radfield. Bumper crop for berries and apples, according to Eli in the Wolverine State. Rob Johnson says it can get cold here in Gunnison. Heck yeah. Yeah, there is no humidity. Nothing better than dehydrated apples grown in Colorado. Joe Schinkel says, at Diamond, are Tui going to be around for a while? Like 20 years? Are Tui? I don't know what that question means, Joe. Probably, commentator. Choco Tacos were good. I think they discontinued them forever, not sure. And I am not sure. But I think I'm sure, not sure, that Choco Tacos have been discontinued. You can purchase them on eBay for $1,100 each, I think. Diamond, when do you think the masses will catch on? We've entered the grand solar minimum. If the next cycle has no sunspots, I think somewhere 7 years from now, when we haven't had any sunspots for 3 years, people may get concerned, especially when the weather patterns are shifting, crop failures, famine, things like that will be occurring. Yeah, they'll put the pieces together, Matt. I think they'll put the pieces together. But like I always said, starting 8 years ago when we started the channel, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's a slow rollout. People won't notice. It's already happening. Think of all the changes that have happened and all the control mechanisms that have been rolled out over the years. It's happening right now. Julianne says, I've been processing tomatoes for weeks and should be processing more right now, but I'd rather be here. Well, thank you, Julianne. We're almost done. A couple more questions, guys. Peter DeMarco says, what's the easiest fruit or veggie to grow indoors? Just starting. Well, indoors, I would say some herbs if you have enough light. Lettuces indoors do well. Anyone else have some pointers for them? Yeah, like arugula grows in low light. So start out with some lettuces. You really can't go wrong. You can even regrow your own food from the grocery store, like lettuces and green onions. So those are actually, the green onions would be the easiest thing to grow. Any onion you can grow, if you've got the roots attached, stick it in the ground, you'll get a green onion there, Peter. Ursa Major, we finally got rain in Wisconsin, but too late for the gardens. Yeah, we just had a fruit fly. I just had a fruit fly right here. What the heck is going on? Robert Johnson, the sixth seal described in Revelation matches the description for a micronova. Micronova is a made-up term, Robert. So don't believe all the fairy tales. Bugs from space. It could also be very similar to a super flare, which is what we know happens on our sun. Micronova, it's a made-up thing. There's no evidence it happens on our sun. So there is that. Eric Heimledar. Ooh, I love that name. You definitely sound like you're from Amsterdam. Maybe. Diamond, as weak as this max period is, will the building grand solar minimum be even more dangerous than what is predicted? No, I don't think so. It can't be more dangerous than any other grand solar minimum, even the Maunder minimum. So let's just prepare for a Maunder-like minimum and cross our fingers. If we do have 2 or 3 consecutive cycles with no sunspots, it will be Maunder-like. Jason Schmidt says, no, a high altitude nuclear detonation EMP from that shuts off the grid at Eric Court. Yes, it does. Isn't that what I just said, Jason? Same as a super flare. You can get educated on Faraday cages, but there could be a large enough flare that they may not even work. And then if they do, what's the point? No one's got anything any way. Ben, everything's got melons, pumpkins, few summer squash. No melons or pumpkins, few summer squash, no pole beans, no Armenian. I got Armenian cucumbers in the greenhouse, still producing, and we've got hundreds of pounds of tomatoes in the greenhouse still producing. They'll produce all winter into spring. Ding, dang. That's why I recommend everyone to get or build a rigid greenhouse using Korean natural farming and Korean passive solar styles. Steve C. says he mulched the maple tree into the ground with the mower and bag. The village will get the remain. No raking needed. Do we know where the poles are now? Yeah, at any moment. The next World Magnetic Model update won't probably be it's not supposed to be for till 2025. They updated it in 2021, but I suspect there'll be an update in 2024. They don't move that quickly. Maybe 50 miles a year at this point, I think, is the movement. All right, I'm going to scroll way forward here because I think I've screwed something up here. Val, thank you. We appreciate you. Jadeite. Yeah, I love the term. Okra, still blooming in Louisiana. Happy Birds Fly Higher. Check out Happy Bird Seeds. Link below, I believe, and below all of our videos. Will we survive a few more decades or centuries? The human species has been alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Homo sapiens, just like us. I think we'll make it, Joe. This is just a blip on the radar of humanity. But we are disgusting, polluting animals, and I'm not talking about CO2, so we definitely need a shift. We cannot keep living this way. Could you answer the 500 questions that didn't happen to have money targeted to them? What the heck does that mean, John? No idea what that means, John. Al Gore's in the house. Mavstar, we're moving back into a glacial period. I heard he was bad-mouthing Randall Carlson last night, Al Gore. In fact, you're the one who said it. IL Hate says, do you believe we could return to a vapor canopy? I don't know what that means. If you mean go back in like the plasma sheath back in Saturnian times, if that scenario is true, no. Because that system has broken apart. That polar configuration no longer exists. And we are now in a new solar system with our current sun, which behaves much differently. Sirius 7 says if you draw a line directly from the Gulf of Mexico through the Earth, it ends at the Himalayan mountains. My thesis, I've always thought they were made from the meteor impact in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, the Gulf of Mexico, the shape of it is not the meteor impact or the crater. Many people think that. The meteor impact was 65 million years ago and has since been covered up. But I do digress. I used to live in Crested Butte. Holy smokes, could it get that cold in the winter? It seems to be these questions keep repeating. Something is going on here. I think I'm losing my mind. Okay, there are still Choco Tacos out there at the San Diego Albertsons. That's good to know. Those things are delicious. Actually, they're not very good for you. Anyway, but you can eat one or two a month, I think, and still survive. There are better questions coming out tonight. Yes, I agree. But they seem to be the same thing, repeating. I think I'm losing my mind here. Al Gore says micronova and Earth turning over. Blah, bah. Eric Court says eat Z bugs. Pete Hayoka Seeds. DeMarco says thank you, bro. Did you buy into the asteroid? Did you buy into the asteroid fragments they claim they brought from space? Did you buy into the asteroid fragments? That doesn't make any sense. No, not all terms are made up. Micronova is a made up thing that doesn't exist. We haven't witnessed it. If you witness a thing like a tree falling in the forest, then you can say that a tree fell in the forest. If you make up a thing like pink elephants flying out of your butt that never really happened, then it's made up. Norcom Lex 210. Oh my God, my chats are dumb. Over and done. RK says, do a video on your greenhouse. I've never heard of a Korean style passive solar. Please explain. Well, they have a certain angle in the Korean style. Sometimes they'll roll over like bamboo or put cloths over it at night, but it's basically a south facing with a insulated northern wall. You could just Google it. Microgreens, but we have hundreds of videos of our greenhouse, even the construction of it, going all the way back to the beginning. So you can always just go check out Oppenheimer Ranch Project, click on greenhouse playlist and go check it out. George Huxley says, the guy who found the Serpent Temple complex in Michigan last month is the one who has found the change in our solar cycle. No idea what you're saying there, bro. Ban Everything says, my mower bag saved my 5-inch baby fig tree this year. It now has 3-foot branches to prune and root to make more trees next spring. Ding, ding. Ban Everything. Al Gore says, hi. Alien Al says, hi to Al Gore. All right, 6 more minutes. We're done at 6 p.m. Esoteric Cold says, if any of you want some excellent information on how to truly get healthy and heal your diseases, I've made information super easy to understand. Go to lifechangehealthcoach.com. Thank you, Ursa Major. Vaping. Runs with Scissors says vaping. How would you protect yourself from cosmic rays caused by massive solar flares? Stay inside. Go underground. Don't go out during the day. Eat healthy. There are some, I shared this years ago. There is a Korean company, I forget what they're called, but they make a product called HemoHim, HEMOHIM. I will Type it in the comments now. You can Google it. It's a product that was made for people working in the nuclear industry or with radioactivity in high levels that was used to protect them. It has herbs in it like angelica, but there are some herbal preparations that can protect you from radiation and potentially cosmic rays. So that's interesting. You won't get that info anywhere else but here. Yeah, cosmic rays go through mostly everything, including yourself. What is your idea and knowledge of the stone serendipite? Never heard of it. And I am a graduate mineralogist. Never heard of that. So it might. And when you say stone and then you give like a mineral name, or it doesn't make any sense. Serendipite, if it's a rock, would be an agglomeration of minerals, but it's a rock that I've never heard of, and I've pretty much heard of every rock. So I will have to Google serendipite. We could just do it right here. See if it even exists. Serendipite. It is a rare silicate found in Sri Lanka. Low specific gravity, cleavage, none observed. Pinacoidal. Well, that would be, it makes an interesting precious gem, but other than that, it's a pretty boring mineral. So that's all I can tell you from my initial perusal. Let's see. I read that the Earth rotates at the point of the Galapagos during the pole shift. Again, vague pole shifts. The rotational pole doesn't shift. There's no evidence of it. There is, in fact, evidence that the rotational pole has been stationary for millions of years because there is ice in the Arctic and Antarctic that is millions of years old in the form of permafrost. There has been DNA frozen continuously for millions of years, just uncovered in Greenland. So there is no rotational pole shift. There is no crustal slip. There is no insane fairy tale scenario like that because there's no evidence for it. There is evidence to the contrary that it never happens. Ursa Major. Hope you got that. Hope you picked that up. I just put that down. Thank you for the super chat, Dusty. You are awesome. Runs with scissors with the $4.99. Boom time. What happened to the two short Mexican aliens? I don't know. I think that's a psyop. I think it's all psyops from government agencies, abductions, UFOs, everything. And I think it's going to only increase. And Project Bluebeam may happen soon, which will be a boom. I haven't really asked Rex if he wants to come on the trip, so I'll probably do that in the next few days here. I think he's aware of it. I made him aware of it. What's up with the debris right now? Should we expect significant impact? I have no idea what debris you're talking about, and no, there is no imminent impact of any kind. What's for supper? We are having organic tomato basil soup, and I'm going to make grilled cheese, I believe. That's simple. I usually don't do that simple of a dinner, but it's late, and I'll also make a salad. Lunar eclipse was the other day, but it was in the Eastern Hemisphere, Mahala. Actually, yesterday. And you did miss it. And if you're in the Western Hemisphere, like the US or North or South America, no one saw it anyway. So you didn't miss it. But there's probably a live stream and you could go see it on the internets. Hemo him. Yes, I typed that. Hey, fam. Hey, Diamond. Really been a long week. Certain types of mushrooms I heard can help. Yes, that's true. Is Rex Bear in the house? I missed it. I missed Rex. If he is in the house, I love you, Rex. Diamond, what's the topic for next Saturday show? The Yuga cycle. The precessional cycle, which is my specialty. It's what I studied in graduate school. The Milankovitch cycles. Yes, the precessional wobble is about 26,000 years. Hit that thumbs up. Indeed. Do you still have the NOAA present on your page from the retired NOAA scientist? I don't know what that means, Brandon. How did Hurricane Otis rapidly intensify and then dissipate even faster? Pretty simple. Went over warm water, rapidly intensified, hit land, and rapidly de-intensified like all hurricanes do. Al Gore says he should open an OnlyFans page. Yeah, I agree with you, Al. Okay, one more. Let's see here. Thank you, Diamond, for being an inspiration and to continue to persevere. Kim Solomon had 6 ears of corn on one stalk. That's a record. GMO, maybe, Kim. I don't know. That's a pretty interesting hybrid there. What is with the upcoming winged comet? There's always comets coming in. It just happens to be a new electric comet. We always have electric comets. The last most spectacular one was Comet Ison about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And it's just an electric comet. It's going to be a show, ho, ho. So go check it out. Guys, thanks for coming. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for the super chat, Rusty. Time to go to sleep. 241 watching. We love each and every one of you. Be safe. We love you. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Nanu, nanu.